G'day YouTube and welcome to another episode of the Gunman. So today we have Shijun again, but what we're probably going to do is just get him to do the clear coat. So this one here is a Mazda 3, right? So we're going to paint down the side, including the rear bumper and that little bit on the nose cone there too. So it's all ready to go. Give me the gun. I'll do everything, but you do the clear, okay? Yeah, just because this one's a 3-stage pearl. So what you might have noticed that we've left most of the car covered up so that we don't get too much overspray from the wet on wet. But the wet on wet is white. Either way, let's get stuck straight into it. So as you can see, it's a pretty straightforward job. We just got a new rear door shell there. We've got a repair on the rear bumper, and basically the rest of it is blends, although there is a little repair on the dog leg on the quarter panel. So yeah, it's one good thing about where I work now. They're very generous with blends, especially on a 3-layer pearl. I say that because many shops that you work in, they would potentially not give you a blend on the guard, but any painter knows the advantages of just being able to blend the entire side, especially on a 3-stage pearl. It just minimizes the risk of having, say, what I call the swimming pool effect. So even just putting extra coats of clear coat on a panel can make it deepen the effect. So even though you haven't got any color there at all, it will deepen the color or the clear coat, and it'll make it appear to look like a different color, even though it's not actually a different color. So yeah, this is the color. I did spray this out previously a couple of months ago, 25th of the 9th, yeah, a few months ago. So that's good to have a go-to, and then we checked that color. It turns out it needed the 3 coats, so I did one side of that spray out has 3 coats of pearl, one side of that spray out has 2 coats of pearl. From there, what I'll do is I'll go back here and then find that there is a number on the back of this. So it will 3014616. That's my variant. 3014616. There we go. Can I get you to mix up this color, please? Rightio, so we've got the color mixed up, finished doing that masking. As you can see, you gave it a nice prep sol down, and we're just giving it a tack rag now. Another thing worth mentioning is just the utilization of your time and the flash off time. So I knew that I had a go-to color for this color, so I knew that there was no need for me to go and mix up all of the color. Before I even went in the booth, I already had a sprayer, I already had a go-to variant. So I'll get the wet on wet primer down. While that wet on wet primer is drying, we can then mix up the color, and that's sort of, like I say, it's utilizing our time. Another thing worth mentioning is when I put the wet on wet primer down, I don't like the booth to be too hot. Primers do have a bit of a tendency to sort of dry as you apply. That's another reason why I like to do the outside of the door first, specifically on the wet on wet, because if you do the inside first, you can get what they call sand piling, and it can dry on the outside of the panel. So what I like to do with my blends is you look for a curve on the panel, right? So you see here, there's already a curve on the panel. So you blend it there and you can't see, you know what I mean? You look for a little curve if you have one, like, or even something like underneath the mirror, you know, so because you're not going to see it because it throws a shadow. I'll show you. So when using Envirobase, I like to thin the ground coat color down to 25%. They recommend, I think it was 15%. I do not recommend that. It makes the paint too thick and gluggy. You may gain a little bit of coverage, and I think that's why they do it. but you will definitely lose out on the drying time. So I think you're better off putting a few an extra coat of thin paint down, and then it will dry correctly in between coats, rather than just smashing all this thick gluggy paint on. Yes, it's going to cover quicker, but it will never dry, right? So 25% thinners for the ground coat, and I've even been going 30% for the pearl. Again, that's mainly for the drying time. So on this one here, it did turn out to need that third coat of pearl. So yeah, I just went for the 2 coats of ground coat, then 3 coats of pearl, and again, that was mainly for the color. One thing that I used to do, say around 10 years ago, I used to always go for, I think it was even 1 coat of pearl, and it's true that that is actually all you ever really need. That's if you change that ground color. But what I've found these days, you're just better off going for whatever variant is going to get you there with least amounts of spray out. So previously, so what will happen when you put extra coats of pearl down, it will generally darken the color and sort of make it a bit more yellow. So what I used to do is just add that black and yellow, say, into the ground color, and it works for me, right? But I've just found these days, the less color matching, the better. You always want a go-to variant for pretty much every color, especially the common ones. So this is a very common color, 25D Mazda, probably half. I think the other one's 34K, that's the other popular one. But yeah, sort of half, or at least most of the Mazda 3-stage pearls are going to be this color. So if this is like a normal metallic or even a solid color, I probably would have let Shijun put the color on. But yeah, back then he was sort of early on his in his development. So yeah, I'd actually been letting him do the Mazda Solid Crystal resprays that we did, right? What I would let him do is he'd go in, he'd put the wet on wet down, he'd put the color down, but then I would go in, jump in, put the candy down, and then I'd let him put the clear coat down. So he was doing a big chunk of the work. It's one of those things, when it comes to you learning under me, right? When I'm teaching somebody, if I think you're capable of doing something, I will never stand in your way. But there's certain things that you have to do. You've got to listen to me, you've got to do it our way, right? At the end of the day, I'm putting my name to the paint jobs that leave my paint shop. So if you don't want to do it my way, I'm sorry, but we're going to have a problem, right? So that's why somebody like Shijun, and they generally do fit in quite well alongside me, because I'll give you enough freedom to just go in there and do yourself, as long as you prove to me that you're improving, and yeah, you're going to listen to me and you're going to follow the correct procedures. At the end of the day, I actually find spray painting quite easy these days. It's got to that point for me anyway, because all I do is I just follow a procedure. I try different things. If something's not quite working, right? If I'm just getting orange peel or solvent boil or whatever it may be, if my colors are not that good, I will put in a system to eliminate or at least reduce the risk of those issues happening. So like I say, Shijun definitely did impress me with his prior work up to this, so I was confident that he was going to be able to put the clear coat down well, and he definitely did not let me down. But like I say, being that it was a 3-stage pearl and we did have blends, it's something that he had minimal experience with. But for the rest of this video, guys, I'm going to let Shijun's work do the talking. He's using his DV1 C2 1.3, just to be clear, and the clear coat is the PPG LVC 136. So sit back and enjoy, and thanks for watching. Gunman out. So here we've got Shijun. He's got his DV1 1.3 C2 with the LVC 136 clear coat. He's got the 420 thinner in it, which is a medium speed thinner. And then we do add a little bit extra thinners into it as well. So an extra 40% of the thinner. So if the thinners in the mix is 100 grams, we'll put in 140 grams. Better get that respirator back on before that overspray comes down this end of the booth.
How good does that look though? It's a really good setup coat. It's going to be nice and Nice and glassy, that finish, I can tell. Perfect Mazda finish. Perfect. Good job, man. Are you happy?
Happy, very happy.
Very good. I think that's your best one yet, man. The best one you've done so far. Easy. Absolutely, man. You think that's the best you've done so far? Very good. That's just killer. This is why you give people the opportunity to learn, because they can impress you. See you next time, Instagram, and see you soon, YouTube. Yeah, and very clean too, isn't it? And it's perfect finish. It looks like factory. No orange peel. Yes. Woo! We won't even polish that. No polishing.
Is it?
Yeah, so clean, too clean. Don't need to polish. Rightio guys, until next time, get out there and paint some shit. Gunman out.
Stop it out.